to Busted Speakers. Today I'm Kush.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Cam.
Today we're going to be talking about Yumi at Six, Night People. Yumi at Six is a 5-piece alternative rock band from England, and this is their 5th album. I mean, I have a lot to say about this album because I remember listening to Yumi at Six when I was younger and just in that pop punk, pop rock, alternative rock era of music, and I feel like this album has gotten worse than some of their older albums. I enjoyed their album Sinners Never Sleep, and the last album, Cavalier Youth, was just not as engaging. This is definitely an upgrade from Cavalier Youth, but I still didn't enjoy it as much as Sinners Never Sleep. Maybe because this album had a lot of repetitive, I guess, types of songs. A lot of the songs sounded very similar. And the ones that they did vary it, I felt like those were probably the best tracks, like Spell How To and stuff like that. How about you guys?
Well, this band were one I've heard about all my life. Well, not all my life. They weren't formed the day I was born, but since before I was into music at all, I was just hearing about Yumi at Six. Who was this band? And this is the first time I've listened to them on a full scale, and they were just one of those bands that you'd hear in hipster indie magazines and all the indie hipster kids. Not saying you were one, Kush. It's just I'd hear about this band and I just wouldn't want nothing about them wanted to make me listen to them at all. I don't know why, but they were really big in the UK, and I'm going to say that this album is about as good as commercial rock gets these days on the radio. I'd have to say that. I don't know what's on American commercial rock stations, but on the UK, we have a national, there isn't a national radio station for the whole US, is there?
No, it's all regional.
Yeah, well, the UK is small enough that we have one for the whole country, called BBC, or British Broadcasting Corporation, and they, BBC One, is meant to be the national radio station. That makes it sound as if it's legislated, but it's about as good as rock on that station gets, which is pretty sad actually, but I have stuff to say about each track, but if you want to do a summary of it, we can listen to.
Let's get Cam's opinion. As a general, we can talk about the track specifically. That's fine.
So I don't think I ever really had any reason to have heard of this band before now, but I know I have, probably just seeing the Busted or Warped lineup or something like that. So of course I just did a little basic research before listening to it and saw that they were listed as pop rock, pop punk or whatever on RYM. And I'm just there aren't really a whole lot of bands still doing that these days, so I just wonder how they're pulling it off. And I listened to this album, and I was surprised it's a bit bluesier than I expected, a little more hard rock swagger. I mean, it's not full-on hard rock or anything, but I mean, really, there is no such thing as hard rock anymore. It's just you got pop rock and then metal. It's pretty much how the leap goes. And honestly, it wasn't bad. It's just one of those albums that, I feel like I could get the same thing listening to almost anybody, and I didn't feel like any of the songs stood out very much.
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
Yeah, just starting off, the first song, Night People, the intro was just this weird electronic synth, to me, just noises, and the chorus was very forgettable and slightly obnoxious and generic pop rock lyrics. So it just really put me off. It just really put me off right as going in. And then
when I heard those noises, I instantly recognized it from the radio. So I think this is actually a good experiment in if you've heard it before, your perception's changed, because I actually consider this to be one of the better songs on the album, and it might just be because I've heard it like 15 or 20 times on the radio. It really might be, but I think it's just a reasonable and good little rock song, and has strong riffs and vocals, and like they've got good backing vocals during the chorus, and yeah, it really might just be from me hearing it before, but I did not mind this song.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it as much, but there were a couple tracks that I did enjoy. One is Brand New. I don't know if you know the band Hinder. They're like a hard rock band, but that was very, I would say, reminiscent of their music. And I feel like the less pop punk they go, the better their songs are. Because I think pop punk is just a dying genre after Fall Out Boy and bands like that just kind of change their sound. There isn't any underdogs in the pop punk community anymore. I think people are just changing their sound to go with new things, and then this is just kind of hanging on to a thread of what it was.
So there was only 2 songs on the whole album that I actually liked, and the title track and Spire, which was actually a bit more interesting and dynamic and fast-paced, and actually has some good drum and bass prominently mixed. I think it's like a good emo pop punk song kinda, but there's just the aspect of when I'm listening to this, why don't I just listen to My Chemical Romance or something for a really emotionally driven, fast-charged, romantic song? Because half of these songs are just sound like My Chemical Romance, filtrated versions like Plus One, I'd say, is like that. It's less passionate, less different than that band. I don't know what your opinions on them are, but I think they're pretty underrated by the rock press and everyone, and now that they're disbanded, I think we can like look back on them as being pretty good overall, like that band, unlike this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been like checking out some professional reviews of theirs, and so far I don't really hear any similarities between them and like any of the bands that people have compared them to. Like, I didn't really think My Chemical Romance and what I heard, or other publications said like, let me just pull up one here. Rock Sound says, it wasn't Rock Sound. Gosh darn it, where'd it go? But one just said like, comparing them to Paramore, Fall Out Boy, some other band I forget, and just calling them all the, pop punk, emo, indie, or alternative rock, whatever, generic. And I'm like, for one thing, Fall Out Boy have completely changed gears from this kind of sound anyway. They can barely be called rock anymore. But even then, it's like these guys are just more polished and less inventive than Fall Out Boy ever were, less emotive than Paramore. One song was compared to Jack's Mannequin, and if you guys know them at all, then I don't think I need to say why that's kind of a ridiculous comparison. They just kind of seem like regular old alt-rock with a little bit of a blues sound, a lot of polish, and just generally unremarkable and not really comparable to much else.
I'm only comparing them to My Chemical Romance because my experience with like emo pop punk, as this is apparently called, even though I'd just say it's pop rock in essence, is some of these songs are a bit too like over dramatic, and like some of the lyrics on these songs are just going too far. I mean, you can tell they're trying to win the hearts of the teenage girls and all that with these like over dramatic romantic love songs like Can't Hold Back. I'd say Take On the World is definitely one of them, like Take On the World Together, and it's like it's okay in that it's a slow burner ballad, and it's still too focused on trying to find strengths together. It's the metaphors and the lyrics that really made me think of My Chemical Romance, not particularly the sound.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Take on the World, I think I actually groaned out loud at those lovey-dovey, just our love is a struggle lyrics. It's just so generic and so bland. You said you liked the song Swear. Well, I did not like the song. I felt like everything.
I didn't either.
I felt like that song just sounded really lazy. Like, just generic instrumentation. Vocals were pretty lazy. And they repeated "This Love Is a Battleground" about 300 times, and I just was about to blow my brain out at that point. I think the one song that I actually enjoyed was "Spell It Out," and at that up till that point, it was like 7, 8 songs before that. I think they knew that people are gonna get bored of the sound, so they threw in "Spell It Out," which is just right before the second to last song, and had ton of different variety from what they did throughout the rest of the album. I mean, yeah, God, I said the lyrics are so bland, and overall, it's not like any sort of like amazing song, but it's probably the best one on this record, at least to me.
I sadly don't really have any picks for highlights or lowlights. If you like this style, if you just want something that it's definitely professional in pretty much every respect. If you just need something that you can put on for about a half hour, then it's fine, but I just don't think I'm ever gonna need to return to it.
I mean, the one redeeming quality about this band was their vocalist. I felt like they had a really good vocalist, and he had really good range in what he was singing. I just felt like what he was singing was kind of lame.
Yeah, if anything, that's the one unique element of him, and I don't know if he goes on to a solo project or these guys ever disband and he comes back with something more interesting, I'd probably check him out. But yeah, this wasn't enough to get me into the band themselves.
Yeah, I used to like them. I might revisit some of their older stuff just to see if I'd still like them. But this is not looking good for this band for me.
Yeah, what do you remember them being like? You kind of touched on them a little bit, but
I think they always had this similar emo pop punk sound. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was just because I enjoyed that music more so when I was younger, but I haven't revisited them in years, I would say. So if that's it, would you give it any sort of rating?
I'd just give it a 3 and call it good.
A 3 out of 10. That's impressive.
Oh no, sorry. 3 hours doing out of 10. 5, 6, I'd say.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal for this album.
No, it's not quite that bad.
Yeah, I gave it a 5.5 just because it wasn't that bad, but I felt like there was a lot of work to be done for this to make it actually good. This, mainly, I would say in the lyrics, there was just a lot of bad lyrics. Yeah, it seems like
that's fair.
It seems like Alex just left, so I don't know what went there.
Yeah, I don't know either, and I keep slipping in and out of being connected and disconnected.
Well, I'll probably get his rating a little bit later. I guess we can call it a review for this one.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to Bus Speakers. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let us know how you feel about this in the comments below, and check us out on social media. We've got some great stuff up there for you too.